How you doing? This is Rob Allison with Rob's Detector Cells, and I just wanted to go over some of the accessories and stuff that are good to have when you're out detecting as a backup. Just recently I made a prospecting trip where I traveled approximately 550 miles and realized that I didn't have my any headphones. So I just wanted to go over some of the items that I have here that it's best to take with you as backup. Now all these items that you see here, accessories, are normally what I have like in a backpack or some type of bag that I carry at all times and just put in my vehicle. So I always know that I have backup stuff in case my primary headphones or coil or something would go bad or break, that I always have a spare, and it's not going to ruin your prospecting trip. Now as you see here, some of the items I have here, they're just for demo purposes. I have 2 coils. Now for the most part when you're out there detecting with a coil, most likely it's not going to go bad, but occasionally coils can go bad, or maybe they start falsing real bad. Maybe you step on the coil and damage it. It's always nice to have a second coil. I've got a little platypus coil here as backup. That's just to show you that it's kind of nice to have a second coil in case something would happen, you're still able to detect. Some of the other items are headphones. I mean, if you get out there and your headphones, I've had problems over the years where you can snag headphones and break them. And then you're pretty much down and out with the Minelabs unless you have some type of external speaker. So it's always nice to have a spare pair of headphones. These are the Detector Pro Black Widows. These are what I use as my primary set of headphones. You don't necessarily have to have the best set of backup headphones. You might have maybe just a cheap pair or something that's not as good, just in case you have to refer to go back to them if your primary pair broke down. Another thing that's really important is power cords. Just see here I have a Minelab power cord and also a heavy duty Coiltech power cord. The Coiltech is about twice the diameter and much more stronger than the stock Minelab cords. For example, if you're out there and you break your stock Minelab cord, you're pretty much out. If you have no way to get the power from your battery to the detector, you're not going to do any detecting anymore. So it's always nice to have at least one spare power cord. Whether you're going to use the heavy duty one first and then your Minelab is backup or vice versa. Either way, it's always great to have a backup power cord. And like I said, over the years I've broke a lot of those power cords by snagging them in a brush. You know, like I said, and if they break, you're pretty much out. If you're using the Coiltech pocket rocket system, they do make the short power cords where you can actually mount the battery to the side of the detector. You can buy, you know, backup little power cords like this. If you're worried about the power cord, for the most part, this power cord never really gets moved much. If it's attached to the side of the detector, there's not much movement in the cord, and there's no really you can snag on anything. So like I said, you can get back up the little cords if you need it. Another thing that I broke over the years is definitely lower shafts. There's 2 different lower shafts here. I have the Minelab standard lower shaft. They call them the ISO shafts. And secondly is the newer heavy duty version. It's made by Otto. That's OTTO. It's always nice to have a backup lower shaft. If you trip or fall, you can snap those. I've done in the past. And if you only have one lower shaft, boy, it makes it really tough to try to detect and repair those. So it's always nice to have a backup lower shaft. On the lower shafts, they have these little teardrop washer things. These aren't really important to have. You can get away without them. But it's always kind of nice to have a couple of these. As you can see right here is where they come out of, and the Minelab have the typical teardrop ones, which they're not in this one, but you can get those and replace those if needed. Another thing is also the little nylon nut and bolts on the coils. I've had these snap over the years. It's not real common, but they do. Like I said, if you don't have nothing to replace it, then you're kind of out. There's 2 different nylon bolts. There's the typical standard Minelab version, which is the black ones. They're 1.5 inches. And also there's the heavier duty ones that some of the Coiltech coils have, which are a little bit heavier duty, a little bit thicker in diameter. But they're, like I said, they're both nylon nuts and bolts. It's always kind of nice to have some replacements of those. I also have here a scoop. Not necessary, like I said, but if you lose yours, a lot of guys don't like digging by hand or something, so those are always kind of nice to have. It's basically a plastic treasure recovery scoop is what they call those. The next real important item is a battery. I've had trouble in the past out there with batteries, and if you only have one battery, this battery is actually for the 4000, and even though I'm using the 4500, there's no battery available right now as a backup, so I'm still able to use the 4000 battery if I needed on the 4500. So it's always nice to have a spare battery or some type of backup power source in case your primary battery would happen to go bad. Now if you're using the pocket rocket system, which is one of the most popular lightweight versions for the Minelabs, you can take the battery off, and if you're worried about, rather than going and buying another complete system, you can actually buy just the regulator or cradle piece right here. And that's what I used to do on the GP4000 and prior, is that I would just carry a spare cradle in case my system went down, that I could just replace this. And like I said, the batteries and everything you already have would still work on this piece here. So that's also an option. Another thing that's real important is handles. I've broke these in the past. There's two different handles. There's the standard SDGP handle that doesn't have the push button, and there's also the one for the 3500 and prior, and the GP4000 4500 that has the push button ground balance. You don't necessarily have to have this one. Like I said, if on the 35, 4000, and 4500, if you happen to break your handle, and typically they break right here, they'll snap right off right there. You could get away with just the standard handle and then ground balance right off the control box. So you wouldn't necessarily have to pay the additional money as a backup, but it's always nice to have a handle, like I said, because I have broke these in the past. Just a few other items. Just to do some basic repairs out there. A couple screwdrivers I have here, just a Phillips head screwdriver, and then just a standard. What's real nice is a Leatherman's tool. For the most part, you can do all the repairs on your detector. Then just maybe a little roll of electrical tape. And that pretty much covers most of the stuff. These are pretty much all the most important things on your detector. Without these, obviously, you wouldn't be able to detect. It's always kind of nice to maybe have a spare pick. If you broke your pick, you'd have something as backup. But like I said, these are just some of the most important things. And I just wanted to kind of make a little short video just so people can kind of see what I'm talking about and actually visualize the different accessories and what they look like. If you have any questions, like I said, feel free. You can always catch me. My name is Rob, and I'm at Rob's Detector Cells, and you can also catch me on the internet at www.nuggethunting.com. Thank you for your time. Bye.